Hi everybody, welcome to the review. It is 10:29 p.m. Finished watching Spider-Man Brand New Day, the 38th film within the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, the man who helmed the project of Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. And as per usual, the review will be spoiler free. And if you like the content of my channel, don't forget the subscribe button below to spread your word to friends and family, and provide a like or a comment at the end of the video should you be interested. Let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. You have Tom Holland reprising his role as Peter Parker Spider-Man, Zendaya as MJ, Jacob Batalon as Ned, John Berthal joining the ranks as Frank Castle Punisher. You have Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner the Hulk. This film, and spoiler here, takes place 4 years after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, where Doctor Strange has performed a spell that has made the entire world forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Now, here he is operating anonymously as a superhero vigilante in New York City while dealing with a unique uh, mutation within his DNA structure on top of a new threat that has emerged within New York City. And the interesting thing about this film is that despite the new threat, it is very much a street level film that we have always wanted to see Spider-Man in. It's street level compared to the Andrew Garfields or even Tobey Maguire's. This is the Spider-Man film that I do believe that fans like myself who grew up watching the animated series, reading the comic books and the action figures, this is what we've always wanted to see in terms of a true Spider-Man film. And it's, while still connected within the MCU, it's standalone enough to where you can still branch out into other ventures without having to bog it down with unnecessary characters and storylines, if that makes any sense. From a visual perspective, I could tell Destin, in my opinion, I could be wrong, he took a lot of inspiration from the 1960s animated version that I remember watching as a kid. My parents used to buy these VHS tapes for me, and as Spider-Man the 1960s animated series, it was very dark and gritty and gave you more of a true rounded perspective of what Spider-Man is dealing with on a daily basis. And given that Spider-Man Peter Parker's life is very much one of suffering and isolation and loneliness, embracing the concept of what it means to uh, not run away from with great power comes great responsibility idea. And I really love the gritty and the darker reflection that's mirroring what Peter Parker is experiencing as far as, again, remembering what he's been through ever since, say, Homecoming, Civil War, Far From Home, No Way Home, then Endgame, and now he's having to utilize all the knowledge that he has maintained within his mind in the combat experience. He's using it to continue protecting New York City while dealing with this new threat. Tom Holland brings it once again as Peter Parker Spider-Man. And I have to say, let me go ahead and state this for a plain and simple fact. This is by far the best Spider-Man action that you will ever see. And it mind-boggling to me, just the combination of practical effects and CGI. It's very refreshing seeing Spider-Man utilize his environment a lot more to his intellect while still being over the top enough, but yet grounded to where it comes off as this is feasibly possible for a Spider-Man if he existed to be able to pull this off. But once again, the chemistry between him and John Berthal, it is just magnetic. I love the interaction between Punisher and Spider-Man in this film. It was a breath of fresh air, and you're probably wondering how they managed to pull off such a brutal, gritty character with Frank Castle. And they managed to pull it off pretty well within the PG-13 spectrum, and I was quite surprised. And still, even with the PG-13 rating, there's a lot of sequences that come off fairly brutal and quite bloody, much to my surprise. But once again, as I said, Tom Holland really brings it to, as far as from the emotional aspect, the comedic concepts with Spider-Man, and just the quips and the dialogue delivery is just, he is absolutely what I consider to be, in my opinion, the picture perfect Spider-Man Peter Parker. Zendaya also is a wonderful highlight. It is She really, from my perspective, showcases the range that she has as an actress. I know there's a lot of people who may not particularly care for her as an actress, but I've never had a problem with her. And in this film, she shows another side of herself that I was not expecting, and I do believe it would be a welcome surprise to those who are going to watch this film for opening weekend. Jacob Batalon, again, he's not really what you would consider to be the focal point in the film, so there's really nothing to write home about as far as his performance is concerned. And John Berthal as Punisher, of course, I love me some John Berthal, and I do love the Punisher, and he is absolutely amazing in this film. Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner and Hulk, we're always welcome to see Savage Hulk on the big screen again. It's just there is no. It's also a highlight watching him and Spider Man go at it in this film. But as far as the threat is concerned, I don't want to go into any type of details. I do understand that there are people who haven't watched the film. So I will say it's a unique type of threat with a character that we're all familiar with, especially those who are comic book fans. But from an overall storyline perspective, I really did enjoy this film. It's far more character driven. There's a lot of emotion in it, and it really paints home in the fact that Spider Man is, while on his own, at the same time he isn't, and it's really just a breath of fresh air. And for a year, 2026, it hasn't been what I would consider to be a great year as far as cinema is concerned. But this film is absolutely 100% the Spider-Man film that I have always wanted to see. And one of the major improvements that I had to say that I thought was very welcome is we actually have a Spider-Man that is not showing his face all the time. It's very interesting watching him interact under the mask with other characters in the film, and that's what. And to me, it was like reading the comic book or the animated series. That is absolutely what's necessary. I love the fact that you don't have to see his face all the time. It's just for once, it was just wonderful seeing him wear the mask while engaging in conversation with other characters. But this film, as I said, has the best Spider-Man action that you'll ever see. And while there are some flaws here and there, like there is with any film, I have to say this is probably I have to say this is the perfect Spider-Man film. I would have trimmed off a few minutes here and there because it did run a little bit long, but from my perspective, I have to say this is without a doubt the best Spider-Man film that I have watched in my life, and I highly recommend it. And yes, it does get dark, and there's some very serious moments in there, but nothing that I don't believe will traumatize any children. But other than that, I'm gonna have to give Spider-Man Brand New Day 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend it. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about it, and you'll be hearing from me again. Take care and peace out, my friends.